Hi everyone, I'm Belle, and today's talkthrough will be on one of my favorite pieces in the Destinations album, The Diver. This piece was inspired by the feeling of being in water and observing the underwater life and coral reef. In the album, the piece proceeds between the land and sea, and altogether these two tracks form my response to observing coral bleaching, which is when coral loses its color and turns completely white, like a skeleton. The coral loses its color usually when the water temperature is too warm or when there's pollution. The coral expels the algae living in their tissues. The bleached coral will continue to live, but it will start to starve. So to loop it back to the diver, one of the things that happen before coral starts to lose its color is sometimes it will suddenly become very vibrant and colorful and beautifully bright right before it begins to fade away. And I became very captivated by this feeling of observing something that is really beautiful, but that only blossoms into its most beautiful state right before it begins to die away. And so it is this feeling of slight sadness and slight melancholy that underpins this entire piece. So let's get started on The Diver. This piece is a gentle waltz, like a slow dance while floating in the ocean. The left hand comes in with a single floating melody. Then from this phrase on, the left hand begins to sink deeper and deeper. And in figure B, a new line starts to appear on top, played by the left hand. This feels like we're diving along and we begin to notice sea life floating by in our peripheral vision. I've written here floating plankton, and even though you can't really see plankton, let's keep this top line really, really light and delicate. Meanwhile, the left hand sinks deeper and deeper. In this section, figure C, here the two hands align for the first time in this piece, forming a really clear waltz-like feeling. This is a section that was inspired by the feeling of seeing something and beginning to move towards it with anticipation. It's like we can see the life and the activity and light in front of you, and we're moving there as fast as we can because we also want to see what's going on there and we want to play. So throughout this section, it's tilting forward slightly and expanding, added by this left hand upbeat. And then then we arrive into figure D, which is a section, probably my favorite section in the entire album actually. Here is a moment where the underwater world opens up right in front of us. It is full of life and full of color. There are fish swimming past, corals waving in the water, and all sorts of activities happening in all sorts of directions. This is reflected by the right hand. It is a very open-hearted feeling, filled with awe and wonderment. And the left hand maintains a waltz-like feeling. It's like we're dancing with all the wonderful underwater life and activity around us. Here, in this section, when you hear deep bass in the beginning of each cycle, this is like a splash of water. And in the runs in the right hand, you can ad-lib and expand it as you wish. And the section ends with an upward movement, a run in the right hand. This is like the final school of fish swimming past you with all the bubbles rising. And then we come out of this wonderful experience suspended in water. Make sure we change the pedal at the turn of the section. The echo of the melody rings in the right hand. And then the sea life returns back to our peripheral vision. So it's still there, but now a bit further away. Okay, so if we continue. This piece ends with these melancholic mellow chords. We float away and it almost feels like what we had experienced in the previous section was like a dream. So we finish suspended and floating. So that is The Diver. I hope you have enjoyed this walkthrough, talk-through. And once again, if you haven't heard the piece, it is on Apple Music, Spotify, Deezer, Google Play, Amazon. The score is also available, which you can find through the link in the description below. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.